Well, good afternoon. It is July 2nd, 2021. It's a Friday. Hot. Journal 423, T+822, I think. Um, some blog posts are more meaningful than others. I think that's just the natural flow of things as life unfolds for you. This one is pretty important, not just to me, but I think to everybody. Um, it has a lot to do with how I was able to get through my diagnosis, treatment, recovery, um, how I'm still able to function with everything that's happened and everything that's gone on in between. And it's important. It's important to recognize the tools that you have at your disposal and how you choose to use them. I think one of the things that was really important post diagnosis was my attitude. Although this is not exactly what the post is about, although it may be in a way. Attitude's a choice. You wake up every morning and you get to choose how you're going to react to the day and the things that happen to you. And one of the ways that you do that, which is what this blog post is really all about, is the internal dialogue that you choose to involve yourself in. It is what you tell yourself. It's a conversation you're involved in with yourself. It's that still small voice that you hear whispering in your ear, only from the inside. And it was critically important in my survival and the success of my recovery to date. In the respect that when I had choices, I always chose to be optimistic. I always chose to look at things in a positive way, and chose very carefully what I would react to and what I wouldn't, including very often limiting the amount of news intake I allowed myself because there was so much negativity in there. One of the ways I survived was by telling myself that I had to eat, walk, drink, which is another way of saying I had to go ahead and take care of myself physically. It's what made it possible for me to achieve the transplant, to actually be considered for the transplant. Had I not worked out as hard as I did, as long as I did, as diligently as I did, I'm quite certain that I would not have qualified. And if I did qualify, I know that I would have had a much more difficult transplant experience. And one of the things that saved me was that I was in such good shape before. Before the chemo and before they tried to kill me. And part of that was being stubborn. But one of the things that I did that was really important to me, and it was central to my recovery, was spin class. And I got involved in spin class before my diagnosis, but I became obsessive about it after. To the point where I was compulsive, that I had to go, and I had to be on the bike virtually every day. And that continued after the transplant. And realistically, that however far I've come in my recovery, which has been recent, especially after this past summer and 4 hospitalizations, I can certainly attribute to being on a stationary bike. Now, in the middle of COVID, you obviously couldn't go to a spin class. You couldn't go to a gym. You couldn't go to a spin class facility. So I broke down and got a stationary bike. I went ahead and got a Peloton. And I love it. I'm on it at least 5 times a week, minimum of a half an hour to an hour a day. Hard classes. I'm working really diligently to improve my health. This is a long way around the barn to get to Christine Derricole. One of the instructors is a young lady named Christine Derricole. She's a velodrome racer, among other things. But she's also a teacher of sorts, and has a blog site of her own and a website where she does what she calls word shops, not workshops, but word shops, because she believes that this idea of self-talk is so critically important. This internal dialogue is so critically important. And she's become rather popular, rather famous for her 4 pronouncements. I am, I can, I will, I do. And when you take her for a class, and her classes are difficult in general, but especially if you take her for a hard class, even hard by her standards, you'll hear her talk about I can, I am, I can, I will, I do. And repeating that over and over again has a profound impact on how you respond. So if you believe that what Henry Ford said was true, not one of my favorite people, even though I'm a car guy, but he did say that whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that has everything to do with self-talk. Then if you believe that to be accurate, then I am, I can, I will, I do has to be the pathway to success, because it gives you a foundation, it gives you a roadmap for what to talk to yourself about and the words to use. And the fact that it can lead to very, very profound, rich and full possibilities. I'm not going to tell you what to fill in after those 4 pronouncements. I'm not going to go ahead and tell you what you have to say or how you should talk to yourself. You know that better than I do. But I will tell you that words matter, and none more than the words that we use to talk to ourselves. And the question of how you answer those 4 pronouncements, I think, is critical. So I'll close here with the same way I closed the blog post. When you ask yourself the question, I am, what are you? How are you going to answer that? What? Amazing, indomitable? When you say I can, what does that mean? You can be whatever you imagine you can be. You can achieve greatness in everything that you do. When you say I will, what will you do? Will you succeed? Will you overcome all obstacles? Will you be determined, dedicated, diligent? Will you follow through on your desire? And when you say I do, will it be the impossible, the unimaginable every day to make your life better, richer, fuller somehow? That's what I got for you today. That's what I got for you for the July 4th weekend. Stay safe. Be careful. Stay well. Take care.